Hello, in this lesson, I will start in lesson 18, which is the first lesson in section 4, talking about the production of goods and services. In this lesson, we are going to talk about the production process, what are the production methods, how we are going to produce goods and services for the final user, the final customer, starting with managing resources effectively to produce goods and services. Okay, so when we start talking about it, we must know about the production. So the production is the provision of a product or a service to satisfy a consumer wants and needs. This is the definition of production. So the process of production adds value to the raw material and both in components. So we add value to the raw material and to the both in components, the components that I buy in order to start my production process. So we know in chapter 1 we discussed what is an added value. Added value, as a definition, it is the difference between the cost of inputs, which is raw material and component, and the final selling price of the product or service. So it's the difference between the price and the cost of inputs, the cost of the things that I will be using in my production process. So the production process applies to manufacturing as well as a service industry. So whether I'm producing goods or I'm providing services, okay, I need a production process. So in adding value, businesses combine the inputs of a business and the inputs. And when I can say inputs, I can say factors of production, and I can say as well economic resources. All right. So what are the factors of production? We know that we have four factors of production. It is land, labor, capital, and enterprise. So I need these inputs in my business. I need these resources. I need these factors to produce more valuable output. So I need input in order to get an output. So what is an output? The output is the final good or service to be delivered to the customer in order to satisfy his wants and needs. However, these factors of production are also called economic resources. So we can call them the inputs, we can call them factors of production, and economic resources. They are all for the same four factors or 4 points, that they are land, labor, capital, and enterprise. They can be combined. We must combine them in different proportions as inputs to the production process as shown in the diagram. So now let's see the diagram. Here we have the inputs, what we must combine in the production process in order to get an output. So we start with input in order to get an output. So what are our inputs? We have land, labor, capital, and enterprise, and we've explained the four factors of production, okay, in the earlier classes or lessons in section 1. So I need these four factors of production in the production process. I start the production process and I will get outputs. So I have two types of outputs. It's either goods, tangible goods, okay, or intangible goods, which are like the services. So for a business to be competitive, in order as a business to be competitive and to be competing with other businesses selling the same products or working in the same industry, I should combine what? Combine these inputs of resources efficiently, so that it makes the best use of resources at its disposal, or to keep cost low and increase profit. So I have three main, let's say, main purposes for this kind of combination, because I need to make the best use of these resources, to use these four factors of production effectively, and also to keep my costs low, and also to increase profit at the end. So in a developing country where wages are low, it may be more efficient to use many workers and few machines to produce. This production process is called labor intensive. So we have two types of production process. We have the labor intensive and we have the capital intensive. So pay attention over here. When I say labor intensive, the production process, it's labor intensive. It means that in this production process, this, let's say, a factory is using so many workers and few machines, so the number of workers is more than the number of machines. And capital intensive is the other way around, where the number of machines is more than the number of employees, so where businesses use machines or robots and employ few workers. So in the capital intensive, the number of machines or robots is more than the employees, let's say the normal human being working in this factory or in the production process. So the whole production process is being controlled by a department called the operation department. It's being controlled by the operation department. So let's see what is the role of operation department. So the role, okay, or the responsibility or the task that being done by the operation department is to take the inputs and change them into output for the customer use. Inputs can be physical goods or services. So the inputs can be physical goods or services. So the operation man we have a manager. The first manager is the operation manager. All right. So what are the responsibilities for the operation manager? This operation manager, number one, his responsibility making sure that raw materials are provided. Okay, I have raw material to start with, and number two, I make sure that these raw materials are being transformed and made into finished goods and services for the use of the customers. So this operation manager has two tasks or two roles. Number one, to make sure that there are raw materials, and to take these raw materials and to transform them or to make them, okay, into an output finished goods or service. The different sections of this department will vary depending on what the business produces. So a typical manufacturing business, if I'm a business that actually manufactures goods and services, they have three other managers, starting with a factory manager. Who is a factory manager? He is the one who is responsible for the quantity and quality of the products coming off a production line. So as a factory manager, my responsibility is to make sure that all the outputs that I'm getting or I'm producing, that they are in the right quantity and in the right quality. So this would include the maintenance of the production line and other necessary repairs. So if there's something like it has low quality, a machine that is not working well, as a factory manager, my responsibility is to do the maintenance part and to repair anything that needs repairing in the production line. The second manager we're going to be talking about and in the operation department is the purchasing manager. So the purchasing manager's responsibility is to provide the materials and components and equipment required for the production. So this purchasing manager, he's responsible of, let's say, purchasing and providing the factory with the material and the components and the equipment needed to change the inputs into an output required for the production process. And the third manager is the R&D, which is the research and development manager. His responsibility is for the design and testing of the new production process and products. So as a research and development manager, I make sure that the products, the final good, the final service that I'm offering to the customer is being tested first, and to make sure that it is like working well, okay, and it's in good use. Customers can use it in a good way of the new production process and products. In a retailing business, this department will be similar, but the factory manager will be replaced by managers for the shop. So if I'm talking about a normal business, not a manufacturing business, okay, the only manager will be replaced is the factory manager. We replace this manager with a manager for the shops. Okay, so starting now in the term productivity. So if I'm producing goods and services, okay, and I'm working in a factory, I must make sure that I have productivity in my factory. So let's see what is meant by productivity. Productivity is the output measured against the input used to create it. So I'm measuring the output that I got at the final, as a final result or a final output, with the inputs that I used to create it. And we said that they are the resources, and the factors, the four factors over here. the four factors over here. Four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. I make sure that I'm using these four factors in order to get the right amount of output. So the level of production is the total output of the business in a given time period. So the level of production is the total output, the total number of units that I got in my business in a specific time, whether like 2 days, 1 month, and so on. For example, 1 year. This is different than they're different to productivity. So productivity is how a business can measure its efficiency. They're making sure that they are working in an efficient way. The productivity of a business can be measured by the productivity and the labor productivity. So starting with productivity, I'm measuring the output that I got, okay, divided by the quantity of input. So businesses often want to measure the productivity of one of the factors. So if I want to see the productivity of my laborers, okay, like they are one of the four factors of production, I'm using, or I want to measure the labor productivity. So the one of the factors of production, usually labor. This is measured by dividing output over a given period of time by the number of employees. So output divided by number of employees. This is how I know how productive my laborers were in the production process. So productivity can be raised by either using fewer inputs to produce the same output, or using the same input to produce higher level of output. So I can increase, or I can raise my productivity when the inputs are low level of inputs, okay, or fewer inputs, but at the same time I'm getting the same amount of output. And I can raise productivity when I use the same amount of input but higher level of outputs. These are the two ways. Okay, if employees become more efficient, okay, what would happen if employees become more efficient? The amount of output will be produced per employee will rise, and therefore the cost of producing each product will fall. This will make the business more competitive and is the main reason why business usually very focused on increasing productivity. I make sure that the employees are being productive. Why? Because once the employees are productive and efficient, the number of outputs are going to be increased per labor, and also the costs will fall, and also I will be more competitive. That's why as a business, as a manufacturing business, I focus on increasing my productivity. So there are a number of ways to increase productivity and efficiency. There are many other ways to increase productivity and efficiency, starting with number one, improve quality of the product and inventory control to reduce waste. So if I want to be, let's say, to increase the productivity in my manufacturing business or in my factory, number one, I want to be more productive. I should improve the quality of the product. Not only the quality of the product, but also the inventory control. Why do I improve the quality and inventory control? In order to reduce waste. In order to reduce waste. Number two, in order to be productive, I can do something called automation, which is replacing employees with machines, because less error, less human error. So when I replace employees with machines, number one, I will get less mistakes, and at the same time, I will not put my employees into risk. And number three, I will reduce cost, which is wages cost or salaries cost. Number three, improve training to increase employees' efficiency. So if I want to keep my employees and I want to, let's say, achieve productivity, I can improve the training for these employees in order for them to be efficient, therefore increase productivity. Number four, I want to keep the employees. I don't want to do automation. I can motivate the employees more to be more to work effectively. I can motivate them financially or non-financially, and also introduce new technology other than automation, whether like new machines, up-to-date machines, and also use more automation. And basically, number two and number six lead to each other. So, what are the benefits of increasing efficiency and productivity? So, why do I focus as a factor to increase my efficiency and productivity? Number one, because reduced inputs needed for the same level of output. I'm being, let's say, productive in the amount of inputs I'm using. So less input, but at the same time, I'm getting the same output. So I'm reducing wasted inputs. Number two, lower costs per unit, lower average cost. So the more that I produce, the more efficient that I'm, say, I'm working in the factory, definitely the costs are going to be lower, especially the average cost. Fewer workers may be needed, possibly leading to lower wage costs. So whenever I'm using, let's say, automation, as we said in the previous point, definitely I will use fewer workers to do the same amount of output. Higher wages might now be paid to workers, which increases motivation. So also, in order to increase motivation, I have to, let's say, if I want to motivate the workers financially, I will definitely give them higher wages in order for them to be motivated, therefore more outputs. So over here, we're gonna see why business hold inventories, between brackets stock. Stock, it's or the inventories are the products that I put in storage, the amount of products that I have in storage, so ready to be sold for the customer, and also inventories could be like just raw materials ready to be used in the production, and also semi-finished products also ready to be used for the production. So it's not only like finished products. So pay attention. Have you ever gone into a shop and found that it has run out of what you wanted? If so, then the shop might have had higher sales than usual, or else its delivery of supplies might have been late. To ensure that there is always enough inventory to satisfy the demand, inventory level must be carefully controlled. So I must, let's say, keep my eye on the inventory level, and to make sure that once, let's say, the customer asks for a specific product, I have it in my inventory and there's always enough quantity in the stock. Okay, so inventories can take various forms. So in the inventory could be raw material, they could be components, they could be partially finished goods, or even finished goods. So 4 forms: 1, 2 components, 3 partially finished goods, and 4 finished products ready for delivery. It can even include inventory of spare parts for machinery in case of a breakdown. So also I have like spare parts of the machines that I'm already using in my production, just in case something went wrong and there was a breakdown in the machines. So holding inventories or keeping inventories allows the business to maintain production and satisfy customers' demand quickly. So if I need raw material, I have it in my inventory. If I need semi-finished products, I have them in my inventory. If there is a customer who asks for a specific product, yes, I can satisfy his demand because I have what he asked for in my inventory. So when inventories get to a certain point, reorder point, they will be reordered, so that when a delivery is made, it will bring inventory back up to the maximum level again. The business must reorder before inventories gets too low to allow time for the goods to be delivered. If inventory level gets too low, they might actually run out of it. There is unexpectedly high demand for the goods. If it's too high a level of inventory is held, then this cost may cost a lot of money. The business has bought the goods, but they are not being used, and the money could be put into better use. The following graph demonstrates how inventory level can be managed. So Asad, over here, I need you to pay attention to this graph over here. It's going to explain what I just read. So this graph is being used to control the inventory, to make sure that I have enough product, enough semi-product raw material in my stock. Okay, so they do this kind of graph in order to know, number one, when I should know if I have low level of inventory and I have to reorder, and what is like the maximum inventory level, okay, that I can have in my stocks. So over here, we are seeing this graph. Over here, we see the maximum inventory level. This is this point over here, or this point over here. It's the maximum level of inventory that my stock can actually, let's say, can have inventory in. So when the customer is asking, is demanding, I'm using the raw materials, I'm using the components from the stock. So definitely the number of let's say units in this inventory is going to go down because I'm using them. I'm delivering products to the customer and so on. So definitely the number of inventory is going down. So at a certain point that is called a reorder point, okay, once I see that the number is going down, okay, when it reaches the reorder level, okay, in the reorder level in this point over here, in order not to reach like the minimum level without paying attention that, or to be out of stock or out of inventory, I must pay attention that I have to reorder. I have to reorder raw material from supplier. I have to produce more finished goods because at some point the customer might come and ask for large quantity and I will not have enough inventory, enough finished products to satisfy this need. So in this point, when I reach this point, which is like a point between the maximum and the minimum level, I reorder finished goods, I reorder raw material, components, semi-finished products, okay, in order to reach the maximum level again. So I reorder at this point and I'm still using the inventory. I'm still handing out products, finished products to the customer when they ask it. Then I reach a minimum level or a minimum or buffer level inventory. Okay, so when I ordered over here in the reordered level, look here, we have something called lead time. So meanwhile, while I ordered another, let's say, raw material from the supplier, and I'm still using this time over here, the time over here, okay, from the reorder level to the, let's say, the business reaching the minimum level. In this time, the lead time, it's when the raw material I asked for is being delivered. So I reach the minimum level, then the lead time is over, and the supplier will give me, let's say, what I asked for. Okay, the delivery from supplier will let me go back to the maximum level of inventory. So what is meant by the inventory, the minimum inventory or the buffer inventory, is the level is the inventory held to deal with uncertainty in customer demand and deliveries of supplies. So over here, I must, as a business, as a manufacturing business, I must not reach the minimum or the buffer inventory level. It means that I will no longer have the right amount or enough amount for the customer to satisfy the demand of customer, and I will not have enough raw material or components to use them in my production process. So I must pay attention to this level, not to reach this level. Before I reach it, I must reorder from suppliers in order to go back to the maximum inventory level. So in the production, okay, as let's say as a factory, I must have something called lean production. Lean production has three methods or three techniques. So let's see first what is meant by lean production. So lean production is a term for those techniques used by a business to cut down on waste, therefore increase efficiency. For example, reducing the time it takes for a product to be developed and become available for sale. So as a factory, I must use lean production because lean production is like number one goal is to reduce waste, okay, or to cut down waste, to make sure that I'm working effectively and efficiently, and I'm not wasting so many, let's say, so many things, whether time, energy, money, raw material inputs, okay, in my production process. So lean production, it has several techniques to be used in this production. So lean production covers a variety of techniques used by a business to cut down what? To cut down waste of resources or inputs, including time and money and energy and so on. And therefore it increased the efficiency. So no waste, no wasted resources. Definitely I will, let's say, achieve efficiency. It aims to reduce the time it takes for a product to be developed and become available in shops for sale. So in order, like if I apply or I use the techniques of lean production, instead of the product taking me 1 hour to be, let's say, or let's say 3 days from the production to it is like delivered or available for the customer in the shop. So when I use lean production, it's going to be just 1 day instead of 3 days. So lean production cuts down any an unnecessary activity which do not add value for the customer, and it can be applied to services as well. So, what are the 7 types of waste this lean production is trying to eliminate or trying to decrease? Let's see what lean production is trying to, let's say, to cut down. The 7 types of waste. Number one, or the first type of waste, it's the overproduction. Overproduction is producing goods before they have been ordered by customers. So this is a mistake that's being done by factories, is they are producing goods that they are not being, there was no order by customers for these specific products, which is like goods. So I'm producing goods that is not wanted, it's not being ordered, it's not being demanded by the customer. I'm just producing them for no specific reason. So when I'm producing goods, it's gonna be, let's say, it's gonna cost the business high storage cost and possibly damage to goods while it's in storage, especially for the goods that can be, let's say, damaged easily. So overproduction is the first type of waste. The second type of waste is waiting. When goods are not moving or being processed in any way, waste is occurring. So waiting, it means that I produced good and they are still in stocks and they are not moving into the final destination or the final store or the final shop. So the goods are not being they are not moving, or not they're not being processed in the right way, so they are like in the same place over and over and could be like also damaged in a while. Number 3, transportation. Moving goods around unnecessarily causes waste and is not adding value to the product. Goods may also be damaged when they are being moved around. So when I'm, let's say, I have to deliver a product or to move a good from one place to another, so it is easy to just move the goods from destination A to destination B, from the factory to the shop. So when I'm moving the goods over and over for different places, in different places inside the factory or outside the factory, okay, this unnecessary movement, it's gonna, let's say, damage this good, and it's gonna at sometimes causes waste and it's not gonna be good for the product. All right, so goods may be also damaged. The unnecessary movement. So unnecessary inventory, also this is the fourth type of waste. If there is too much inventory, then this takes up space, may get in the way of the production and costs money, which is like inventory cost, or let's say storage cost. So when I have in my inventory, I have unnecessary inventory. I have raw material that I will not use. I have a semi-finished products that I will not use. I even have, let's say, parts for machines that are no longer used in the business. So all of that, they are unnecessary inventory. They're taking up much space for the products that or the goods or the semi-finished products, raw material that I will actually need to store. And these unnecessary inventory, they are taking their space. Number 5, the fifth waste is motion. Any action, including bending or stretching movement of the body of the employee, wastes time. It may also be a health and safety risk for the employees. It also applies to the movement of machines, which may not be necessary. So when I'm talking about the motion, I'm talking about the motion of employees. I'm changing employees changing their places and they're moving around, and also the motion or the changes in place of machines, the unnecessary motions. All right, so especially the employees who are like changing their places without, let's say, without any specific reason, they're just wasting time, they're just like moving around, and it's going to be like risky for their health and safety, especially in the factories that is like they are producing, let's say, dangerous materials, or they are using chemicals. So the motion is going to be a huge risk for the factory, and also the unnecessary movement of machines. It's like we're just like wasting time moving the machine from place A to place B. Waste number 6, over processing. So if complex machinery is being used to perform simple tasks, then this is wasteful. Some activities in producing the goods may not be necessary, and maybe because the design of the product is poor. So over processing is when I have, let's say, a machine that can do complicated tasks, but at the same time I'm only giving this machine simple tasks to do. So this is wasteful. I can use another machine, maybe less expensive machine, to do these simple tasks, okay? Not the complicated machine, the expensive machine. All right. So also the seventh waste that lean production is going to eliminate, which is defects. Any faults require the goods being fixed, and time can be wasted inspecting the product. So in this part, lean production is going to help the factory or in the production process to make sure that there are no mistakes or nothing to repair in the goods, because repairing the goods is going to take a lot of time, okay, instead of just producing the good in the right way from the first time. So these are the 7 ways that the lean production is going to eliminate or to reduce or cut down. So what are the benefits of lean production? So the first one is eliminating cost or cutting down cost, or costs are saved. So how can lean production, let's say, save money for the factory or reduce the cost? Number one, by less storage of raw material or component, okay, not unnecessary inventory, quicker production of goods and services, no need to repair defects or provide replacement service for a dissatisfied customer, better use of equipment, which is like over here the over processing, okay, cutting out some processes, which speeds up the production, less money tied up to inventory, improved health and safety. So they are the benefits that I will get when I get rid of these wastes, and it's exactly like the contrary of what we just said, okay. These are the benefits. So reduced cost can lead to lower prices for customer. So when I reduce cost, I'm not being like, there is not a lot of cost for me as a factory. Definitely, I will not add these costs to the price of the customer for the customer. So definitely after the lean production, the prices of my products or goods are going to be lowered. The business being more competitive and possibly also increased profit. So lean production can be achieved using the following method. We have 3 methods. We have Kaizen method, we have just-in-time inventory control, and we have self-production. And we're going to explain each and every method. Method A, which is Kaizen method. So what is a Kaizen method? Kaizen is a Japanese term, means continuous improvement through the elimination of waste. So Kaizen is the first method for lean production. So we said that Kaizen means continuous improvement. Continuous improvement. Its focus is on the elimination of waste. The improvement does not come from investing in new technology or equipment, but through the ideas of workers themselves. So in order to reduce waste, we ask workers themselves for ideas to eliminate and reduce the waste. So how can I get or ask the workers themselves, because the workers, they are the ones who are actually in the field, and they are the ones who actually know and have much better knowledge about how to reduce waste. So what do we do in the Kaizen method? Small groups of workers meet regularly to discuss problems and possible solutions. So they meet regularly and they're going to say they're going to discuss the problems they faced, and they are going to provide the manager or provide solutions for these problems. This has proved effective because no one knows the problem that exists better than the worker who is actually working with them all the time. So they are often the best ones to think of ways to overcome them. This is the reason why we chose employees to provide ideas and solutions for the problem or how to reduce the waste. So over here, Kaizen eliminates waste, for example, by getting rid of large amount of inventory or reducing the amount of time taken for a worker to work between between jobs, so they eliminate unnecessary movement. When Kaizen is introduced, the factory floor is reorganized by repositioning machines tightly together in cells. In order to improve the flow of production through the factory, the floor will be open and marked with color-coded lines which map out the flow of material through the production process. So this is an example of a problem that faced this factory, and they asked for, let's say, the employees to state the problems that they face and how to actually overcome this problem. So the Kaizen effect before and the Kaizen effect after. So the employees said, there's a lot of movement for employees. The factory floor is not organized. Okay, starting with let's say the first position all the way, or the first part of the production all the way to till the products are out for the customer. So the employees themselves, they provided solution that we must reorganize the floor of the factory, and we must reorganize the machines, so employees will not move around all the time, and machines, okay, will be, let's say, numbered and coded, and they were going to be each, like, they're going to be organized, 1 2 3, like each machine that does like step 1 next to machine that does step 2 in the production process, step 3, and so on. So raw materials brought in directly from supplier all the way out. It's easy, it's smooth. So what are the advantages of Kaizen? Okay, number one, increase productivity, reduce amount of space needed for the production process. Okay, it's smooth, it's clear, it's organized. Work in progress is reduced. So let's say there's no delay in work for the employees because of the factory not being organized, and also improved layout of the factory floor may allow some jobs to be combined, and thereby freeing up employees to carry out some other jobs in the inventory. And one of like the advantage of Kaizen, I can, let's say, join the two parts all together, okay, and I will ask other employees to do another job. So I'm just like giving one employee different tasks and different responsibilities, and he's going to be motivated because I give him something extra to do. So over here we have the second method, which is just-in-time inventory control. Just-in-time inventory control. So what is meant by just-in-time inventory control? Just-in-time inventory control is a production method that involves reducing or virtually eliminating the need to hold inventory of raw material or unsold inventories of the finished product. Long story short, in this just-in-time inventory control, I make sure that I'm not, let's say, storing any inventory with a raw material, semi-finished products, finished products, okay? I'm just if I like just-in-time inventory control, it's a production method that focuses on reducing all the held inventories or raw material or components, and reducing work in progress and inventories of finished product. The raw material or components are only delivered just in time to be used. So I have here, let's say, this the storage where their inventory are in. I will only order the raw material or the components or the parts that I need for my production just in time there was an order by a business or by an individual or by a customer. So the making of any part is undertaken just in time to be used in the next stage of production. The finished product is made just in time to be delivered to the customer. So once the customer orders, I will order raw material, but I do not have any raw material. I do not hold any inventory. So as it's called, just in time of the order, just in time. Okay, once the customer order, I will bring raw material. Just the time I need, let's say, raw material, I will ask the supplier to provide me with raw material. So over here, the benefits of just-in-time, all this reduces the cost of holding inventory. I will not have storage costs or holding inventory costs, as no raw material or components are ordered to keep in the warehouse just in case they are needed. I will only ask for raw material or components just when I need them, just when I'm producing, just when the customer let's say, gave me an order. Warehouse space is not needed, again, reducing cost. So I don't need a huge space to store my products, my produced products, okay? Because I will not produce anything unless the customer orders. The finished product is sold quickly, so money will come back to the business more quickly, helping in the cash flow, which is cash inflow. So anything I produce, definitely I will sell it because I only produce once there's an order. So I'm not producing like without any reason just to put like finished products in the storage. So to operate just in time inventories of raw material, work in progress, and finished goods are run down. No extra inventory is kept. So we're just revolving around the main point, which is no inventory cost, no inventory is kept whatsoever, because only when the customer orders, I would start the production process and the raw material, let's say, order. The business therefore needs very reliable suppliers and an efficient system of ordering raw material or component. Because I need the main thing in this method is I need, let's say, reliable, honest suppliers to provide me with raw material in the same time that I actually ask for it. The final method is cell production. The final method is cell production. So cell production is where the production line is divided into separate self-contained units or cells, each making an identifiable part of the finished goods instead of having a flow or mass production line. So this method of production improves the morale of the employees and makes them work harder so they become more efficient. The employees feel more valued and less likely to strike or to cause disruption. So simply, the production process is divided into cells. Okay, each cell or each unit is each making an identifiable part of the finished product. So it's like this. This is the production. Okay, and these are like the cells or units. Okay, so I know we have 1, 2, 3, and the employees in 1, employees in 2, employees in 3. So each employee is responsible for his part only, and he's doing part of the good. Then he sends it to to section 2 or cell 2, then to 3, all the way till the product is finished and ready to be delivered. Here, miss, we have methods of production. We have 3 methods of production. We have job production, we have batch production, and we have flow production. So starting with job production where there's only a single product is made at a time. So we're only doing one product at a time. So job production is where products are made specifically to order. So when the customer orders this product, I will produce this product, especially for the customized product or the products that are extremely expensive. A customer would order a particular dish or particular cake. So this is like only the customized product. Each order is going to be different than the other one, okay? And each single product will not be repeated because they're doing like special unique products, single product at a time. And also other examples include specialist machinery. Manufacturers will produce a machine for another business to meet a particular specification. Customized bridges, which is like have the specific design. Ships made to measure suits, okay, and so on. Alright, so what are the advantages of job production? It is most suitable for personal services or one-off products that are made once. Okay, they will not be repeated. The product meets the exact requirement of the customer because I'm only producing the good based on his orders, based on his directions. And the workers often have more varied jobs. They do not carry out just one job. In the job production, the workers, they can do different tasks, not only one task. More varied work increases employees' motivation, giving them greater job satisfaction. So over here, Yamas, when I give the worker different jobs, okay, he's not gonna be bored. He's gonna be motivated to finish his work. And once I have a motivated employee, I will have a satisfied employee. It is flexible and often used for high quality goods and services, meaning that a higher price can be charged. So usually the products being produced in job production, they are expensive and they have high quality. So, disadvantages of job production. In job production, since I said like it's gonna be a special, unique, one-off product, okay, um, it's going to need skilled labor, okay, skilled labor to do these, to do these goods, and definitely it's gonna raise costs, especially for the money they're gonna ask to be paid. The costs are higher because it's often labor intensive. I have only employees, not machines, like the handmade products or services. And number three, production often takes a long time because I'm working on something with high quality. Definitely, it's going to take long time. I'm gonna take my time because I'm working on details, on customized, let's say, features. Products are specially made to order, so any errors can be expensive to correct. So I that's why I take a long time, because I don't want to like waste money or time or energy fixing a product or fixing a good that was ordered. Material may have to be specially purchased, leading to higher costs, especially for for the goods that asked for specific material, or let's say expensive raw materials.